how do we create a class? Well, we have to use the keyword class, of course, curly brackets, and the name of the class. It's very straightforward and very simple. After you define the class, you have to give it properties. The properties, like we said, are the set of variables that define your class. For example, if we have the class called point, the point can have x and y coordinates. After we have defined our class and its properties, we have to create an instance of that class. Or basically we just have to create that object, and let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to open Visual Studio now. So let's create the class point. We create the class point outside of our class entry point. So we say class point, open curly brackets, and here we have to define the properties of that class. We have to use the public keyword in front of the variables, but don't worry about this yet. This is called an access modifier, and we will talk about them a bit later in the course. So public, then we specify the data type of the variable. In our case, we want to have integers, int x, and public int y. Now let's go back in our main method and create an instance of that class, an instance of that object. We start with the name of the class, point. We give it a name. So let's just also call it a point. And we say new point, open and close brackets. Now we have created a variable called point of data type point. So now we have our custom data type. When we say new points and brackets, this is the way of saying, hey Visual Studio, create a new object of data type point. Now we can give values to our properties. Let's go ahead and do this. When we say point dot, we get access to the variables that this object holds, to the properties of that object. In this case, the x and y. Now, if I say dot x equals to 5, this is the way of giving some value to that property. If I say now console write line point dot x, this will give me a 5. The same goes for dot y. We can give it another value, so we can say point y, run it, 5 and 3. Perfect. So this is how you can create one very basic class with a couple of properties, how you can define them and how you can use them.